Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and peek behind the curtain at how modern tech is supposed to protect you from the ground up. We're decoding a massive blueprint for consumer protection today, the ISO 31700-1 standard. You've probably heard the phrase privacy by design, right? Well, it's not just a corporate buzzword anymore. It's an actual, fundamental shift in how organizations are instructed to build the products we use every single day.
But before we get too far into the technical weeds, let me just ask you, do you really know what happens to your digital footprint in the dark? Seriously, think about your smart home devices, your fitness trackers, or those smartphone apps you literally use all day. What happens to your data when you aren't actively staring at the screen? Does it just sit there? Or is it being processed, shared, or maybe even stored indefinitely? This explainer is going to give us the framework to understand exactly what should be happening to your personal info the second you log off.
All right, Section 1, Meet Privacy by Design, the foundation of trust.
So, to fix the totally chaotic reality of modern data handling, privacy absolutely cannot be an afterthought. We've got two core definitions to anchor us here. First up is PII, Personally Identifiable Information. Let's imagine PII as a VIP guest. It's basically any data linked to you as a person. Next is Privacy by Design itself. If your PII is the VIP guest, privacy by design means building the hotel, the product, specifically to protect and serve them from the very beginning, and crucially, maintaining that protection throughout the product's entire lifecycle.
And a core philosophy of this standard is that consumers simply should not bear the burden of protection. Look, if data gets compromised because of lax practices, the consequences are incredibly severe. But you shouldn't have to dig through endless, confusing settings menus just to stay safe, right? The system needs to default to protecting you automatically.
Moving on to Section 2, the tale of two life cycles, product versus data.
Now, this is fascinating. The lifespan of your physical gadget is completely different from the lifespan of the data it collects. On one side, the product lifecycle goes from inception to product destruction or disposal. Maybe your device breaks or you finally upgrade. But the PII lifecycle, that goes from collection all the way to eventual secure destruction. So your physical product might get thrown in the trash, but your VIP guest, the data, lives on way longer in a corporate server somewhere.
And right at the center of both of these timelines is you, the consumer. Designers absolutely must understand both of these life cycles to protect sensitive information at every single stage. It's just not enough to secure the physical device anymore. Organizations really have to secure your data long after that device is out of your hands.
Okay, Section 3, putting consumers in control, managing that VIP experience.
So our hotel needs to actually accommodate the VIP guest's preferences and put you securely in the driver's seat. We really have to humanize this standard. You see, anyone can be vulnerable at any given time, whether that's due to age, IT literacy, physical limitations, or even situational factors like a job loss or a bereavement. Privacy controls must be accessible and empathetic to incredibly diverse consumer needs, not just built for highly technical software engineers. And this kind of human-centered design requires a really dedicated corporate structure. Privacy isn't just some software feature you toggle on. It is a dedicated human responsibility split into super clear roles. You've got the accountable person who oversees the entire PII lifecycle and signs off on the work, while the responsible party actually completes the delegated tasks. Basically, someone is always on the hook, making sure your privacy doesn't just fall through the cracks.
And those responsible parties? They have to focus heavily on transparency. We're talking clear notices, explicit details on PII sharing, and easily accessible support channels. Consumers need transparent, totally jargon-free communication so they can confidently exercise their privacy rights before they even click buy. Seriously, if you need a law degree to read a privacy policy, that organization is entirely failing at privacy by design.
Which brings us to Section 4, navigating risks and breaches. Basically, what happens when things go wrong.
Because, let's face it, the hotel's security will inevitably be tested. But the standard lays out this really reassuring, methodical process for organizations to handle it. It starts with conducting a privacy risk assessment and assessing third-party capabilities long before the product even launches. Then, post-release, they've got to continuously monitor those controls and literally have data breach communications prepared in advance. They have to rehearse the absolute worst-case scenario.
And finally, Section 5, the end of the line, when the product dies.
We're reaching the climax of the data lifecycle here. What actually happens when you throw away a device or delete an app? Well, here is the plot twist.
Tossing your fitness tracker in the bin doesn't mean the data lifecycle is over. In fact, organizational liability for your PII can continue even after vendor support for the product completely ends. The company is still fully liable for your VIP guest even when the hotel is officially closed for business.
So how do they handle that? To securely check the VIP guest out, organizations must design ways to permanently delete or anonymize data when it's simply no longer needed. They also have to manage risks if a consumer passes the product on, like selling it secondhand. Fascinatingly, they must even plan for a consumer's digital legacy in the event of death or incapacitation, and explicitly notify consumers of retention conditions. It's basically comprehensive end-of-life care for your data.
Your physical devices will all eventually die. But is your data designed to rest in peace? This is really what you should take away from this explainer today. You need to demand to know how your data is treated when the screen finally goes black. Because privacy by design isn't just about what happens when you turn a device on, it's about making absolutely sure your privacy is fiercely protected long after you've turned it off. So what are you going to ask about your data tomorrow?